Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you are having a little trouble hearing me, please let me know. I know the music was a little loud earlier. Happy to adjust my volume. Feel free to submit in the chat. We are very excited today for our Future is Skilled webinar. We have a very exciting panel for you today. First, I would like to ask everybody to submit your questions and answers, questions in real time using the Q&A function. If you'd like, you are able to turn on the closed captioning just to capture all of the information. We will be sharing a recording of the webinar in the next couple of days. So first, I would like to introduce BuildWithin's CEO, Ximena Hartsock. Ximena Hartsock is BuildWithin is Ximena's second startup company. She is an advocate for innovation, for technology, and for alternative solutions to identifying everyday needs. So Ximena, I'd like to pass it off to you.
Thank you, Jen, and thanks everyone for joining today. So it is a pleasure of mine today to be talking about artificial intelligence and emerging technologies in workforce. As part of this conversation on the future being a skilled future. We hear a lot about the future of work. We are hearing a lot about that right now in Davos, and we heard it also last week at the largest innovation show in Las Vegas, the CES 2024. And so today we are going to try to discuss some of these topics, because there is no better moment than today to be thinking about what we need to do to prepare our workforce so the future is skilled. So some of you may have seen this data already. Lots of times we hear about the current gap between the number of people that are looking for work and the number of vacancies that we have. I think those two numbers are pretty known. Generally, we would say that every person could have about 2 jobs. That are, around 10 million jobs open, and about 5 million or so of people looking for better jobs. But there is also a tremendous reshuffle. They call this generation of workers the quitter generation, or the generation that is changing careers the fastest and the most often. And that has been identified or discussed as a reshuffle, because it's not just people leaving a profession, it's actually entering a new one. And with that comes new training, and it also comes the discovery that sometimes we may be doing jobs or have careers that we didn't actually selected ourselves. They may have been our parents, our teachers, or someone along the way that guided us to study that career, and then eventually we land over time in a very different place because that's what we like to do. And so in this reshuffling, there is a very important conversation about skills, and what are the skills that we already have and the skills that we need to acquire, paired with our passions and interests, to not only do the jobs that we like, but also the jobs that are going to maintain the United States in the innovation economy. And that is also going to allow us and allow our kids, our neighbors, our siblings, our grandkids later on to actually compete globally. The number on the left top, 14 million, is the number of jobs that, according to international organizations, such as the OECD have identified as jobs that are going to disappear. But there are also a very large number, even higher number of jobs that are going to be created. And many of those jobs are created by automation. So in the past, you saw lots of cashiers in a grocery store. Today, you see machines, but there are new staffers in those entities at those, grocery stores, Costco, you name it, that are actually installing those machines, maintaining them, doing troubleshooting for them, and also improving them, not only there, but also with the companies that create those products. So while there is a sense of sometimes being scared by technology or by these emerging technologies, especially AI, we should also think about the opportunity that these technologies are offering everyone, and how much they're leveling the playing field for individuals, regardless of background, zip code, and geography, really, and across the world, because all of these technologies can be learned from anywhere. So lots of opportunity in the 69 million jobs that are going to be created in the next 5 years. 42% of businesses, business tasks, jobs that are done in the workplace that we all do, will be automated by 2027. This goes from doing taxes. If you were in an entity that someone actually physically did taxes, that role is going to be replaced by technology fully, if not by 2027, in a few years after that. In the past, you also saw the receptionist, the scheduler, the business manager as 3 different roles. Today, the operations manager encompasses of those roles. This was accelerated by the pandemic and the lack of presential work, but is mostly driven by automation. In between 1 and 16 workers, because of this reshuffle, will change occupations. We see this as a tremendous opportunity for upskilling, and also for people to find their the jobs that they love, and also to fill some of the skill gap that we observe today in across employers, especially lately, in the areas of manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, aerospace, and technology in general, where the pace of technology is much faster than actually the pace of education. We will not have the amount of workers that we need in the traditional, through the traditional education journey. So today we're going to talk heavily about AI in general. We're going to demystify AI a little bit, and we're going to hear from a practitioner, from someone super innovative that I have the honor to work with. But we're also going to talk about AI being used in the workplace, in the everyday, our specific examples, and we're going to hear from your questions or comments about how AI is being used or could be used in a positive and additive way in the workforce space. You may already know this, but the term artificial intelligence is actually quite old. It's been, there are 2 years that are normally used to refer to AI. One is 1950 and one is 1956. It was actually in 56 when the term was used actually in a conference by one professor from MIT and a professor at Cornell. It was actually a very small meeting of 6 people. It was but that's when the term was actually start being used in a formal way. Artificial has always been a term very much a sort of that has taken the term into science fiction a little bit. We all think about robots when we think about artificial intelligence, but the technology in general, when it started in the 50s, it was very much to resemble some activities that were only done by humans. So the human aspect of AI is intrinsic to its inception. AI today is also going through a change in name because semantically has been taken as a negative part of technology, or as a negative, having a negative impact. We believe is because of the use of artificial at the beginning of the sentence. And so today, many entities are using the word augmented intelligence because of the opportunity that AI provides to accelerate learning and productivity. Affectionate AI is being used now by one very known brand to talk about also the human aspect of artificial intelligence. So with that said, I'm going to introduce you to someone, like I said, I have the honor to work with every day. His name is Gerardo Gomez, and Gerry, as we call him, is an innovator through and through. He started coding when he was 4 years old. He has non-stop learning since then. Went to one of the most STEM-oriented high schools in the country, which shows that when you start young, technology acquisition is very possible. And we have had the honor to work with them for over a decade now, or about a decade, in technology creation. He is the chief of artificial intelligence for BuildWithin, and he is the creator of Maestro, which is BuildWithin artificial intelligence coach, master coach, and infrastructure for all of our AI technologies. So with that said, let's bring the real, not the avatar, Gerry, to stage, I will say. Gerry?
Hi, thanks, Ximena. It's a pleasure to speak today about AI and kind of walk through some of the applications of AI and how AI is built. As Ximena said, demystifying what AI is so that we can all understand it a little bit better. First, let's walk through some examples. AI has been around in our lives for many, many years. It just became a little bit more prevalent to everyone with the AI buzz that ChatGPT had last year. And everyone can finally see it and have it in their fingertips and interact with a large language model such as ChatGPT directly and see the impact of AI in our lives. But in reality, we've all been using AI for many, many years to achieve many tasks. Some examples, self-driving cars, obviously, like Tesla. Chatbots, we just talked about, OpenAI Company of the Year last year. A huge breakthrough in the consumer space with AI. But so images are a big thing. If any of you have used Adobe, many AI tools are used there to generate images. If you've used Netflix, the cover images that you see on your Netflix are actually AI generated. So if you're someone that likes romance movies, you will see the cover of a movie of the two main characters kissing, which in their eyes will increase conversions of you watching the movies. Whereas if you're someone that likes action movies, you'll see an action shot of the movie. Simple thing. Also, on the image generation, the cameras on your phones, if you have an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy or Google Pixel, it used to be years ago that in order to zoom in using a camera, you used to have focal lenses in the camera and align them a certain way to zoom into and take a picture. Now, the reason why we have such small phones and cameras in our pockets that are so powerful is because that is done through AI. So whenever you're zooming in on your iPhone or Samsung, the zooming portion is actually done by AI. AI fills in the blanks of the pixels as you zoom in to augment the picture. It's actually guessing in real time what the picture is at a high fidelity in a zoomed in picture. Pretty cool. Things like music. is a hot topic right now. A lot of AI artists are coming out. Google is partnering with Universal Music Group also to let artists release songs with their likeness and get royalties for it, which is a really fun one. The military has been a big driver of innovation throughout the years. And a lot of the technologies, including the internet itself, were developed with military applications in mind. And AI is no different in that space. So both the United States and China are investing heavily in autonomous naval fleets. You have startups like Palantir, not really a startup anymore, and Enduril, which are building autonomous drone fleets and intelligence for our best nation's interests. And I will venture to say that there will be a significant amount of investment in AI research and careers in military applications and military offshoots. President Biden has already had a law put into place where he's calling for the government to recruit a lot of people in the AI space to advance and optimize the government in general. And then another fun one is a company called NACO, so simulations, being able to simulate something in real time with very little resources is a huge reason why we are as a species today exist, and I'll explain why. So NACO is a company that makes fake milk. So they used AI to simulate what combinations of ingredients, thousands, millions of combinations, would result in different flavors of milk. And why is this important? Because the same procedures and technologies of AI are actually applied to a lot of the medicines that we use today. And so if you think about years ago, in order to develop a vaccine or to develop a medicine, you would have to stand up a lab, would have to culture different things, try different concoctions, test them, very expensive, very long time. But now with AI, we can actually simulate these laboratory experiments in almost real time with thousands of combinations and get very powerful medicines from it, which is why we've been able to accelerate healthcare and cure a lot of diseases in the past couple of decades. And I am sure that that will continue in the next couple of years. We're going to go through some terminology that AI developers, engineers, practitioners use to actually make AI. So if you see these terms, hopefully you'll get a little bit more familiar of how they work and what they're used for. So supervised learning is one way that we train AI. And that is basically you give the AI a bunch of data that already has hypotheses built into it. So one of these things is like image recognition. So say you have a bunch of pictures, you go in and manually say, this is a picture of Ximena, this is a picture of my brother, this is a picture of my sister. And then the AI is able to kind of learn from that. And then if you give it new pictures, it's able to recognize those people. What you'll learn about all of these is that AI is really all about data. Every single piece of our lives can and is translated into vast amounts of data that a lot of the companies and tools that we use gather from us, which seems a little dystopian and daunting and scary, but it's not, because we get a lot out of it too. It's enhanced our productivity, made our lives easier. Think about all the tools you use at work, all the tools you use for entertainment, whatever it is. It's made it a lot better for us. But every single piece about you have a digital twin living in the cloud that is represented by data. And AI is all about figuring out what calculations, what do you need to do with that data to build things out of it. It's a huge data collection experiment. So supervised learning is we already have the data that we know is correct, and we train an AI to analyze patterns in that data, and are able to build applications that detect, given a new picture, this is the person that we're talking about. So next is unsupervised learning, and that is we train an AI to gather new conclusions based on new data that comes in. So a very common one of this is anomaly detection. So financial institutions use this tremendously every day to recognize hacks and fraud. So if you've ever like traveled abroad and you use your credit card and you've never been to that country before, you might get an alert from your bank trying to verify that it is you. That's probably a tool or a model that was trained with unsupervised learning. It's just getting new data based on the given patterns that you have in your life. If new data comes in that doesn't fit in that pattern, we can recognize and see how far away that pattern is, and depending on our rules, alert you about it. And then the next slide is reinforcement learning, which is a really cool one, because I feel like we trained it, or we created it in a similar way that we would teach our children, right? So reinforcement learning is the AI learns over time by getting feedback of rewards and punishments on different actions. So you give the AI a goal, either to, if you're building a Roomba, the Roomba has to clean your entire house. If you're a Tesla and you're building a self-driving car, you have to get from point A to point B. If you're Epic Games and making Fortnite and you want to build an AI to play with players, the objective is to be the last man standing on the island. And so you train it over and over and over again. And over time, it creates a million different scenarios, but you reward it for the scenarios that it does achieve its goal, and you punish it for the scenarios that it doesn't. And over time, you have a very fine-tuned AI that knows the most optimal way to get to the goal with the least amount of punishments. Those are the three foundational ones, and they all kind of bubble up into deep learning. And deep learning is pretty much what every modern AI tool uses nowadays. It's a combination of everything of the previous methods that we just talked about. But deep learning was modeled after the human brain. We created it after a neural network, and it's an AI that is able to choose on its own the best technique in order to achieve that task. So while the other ones are very specific and kind of foundational methods for different tasks, deep learning is able to understand it, like a brain, what do I need to do? It figures out what methods do I need to choose to complete that task, and then it goes and does it for you. So like I said, every modern application has deep learning now embedded into it, from ChatGPT to Google searching, robotics, medicine, what have you. That's what deep learning is. So ChatGPT, we talked about it. The company of the year last year brought AI to the forefront and to the fingertips of everyone. OpenAI has actually been working on ChatGPT for, I think, over 10 years. That was the 3.5 version that they released to the public that was finally good enough to be usable and widely adopted. But it took them a long time to get there. So how does it work? What is it? GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. It's a deep learning model that is specifically really good for text. That's why if you see the term LLM used to describe it, it stands for Large Language Model. And it's given a given prompt, which is what you type in to ChatGPT. It's able to go out and predict, understand the intent, the emotion of your prompt, and give you an answer back. What I said before, that AI applications and tools are just a massive collection of data experiments. That's what ChatGPT is. It was a massive data collection exercise. They made it good enough finally to release it to the public because they needed more data to make it even better. And then they released GPT-4. Now they're working on GPT-5, and they're iterating and iterating on it. The reason why they can do that is because it's a circular, never-ending loop of getting more data, making it better, getting more data, making it better. But does it actually have sentience? Is it smart? Does it know all these things? No, not yet. They're working on getting AGI, but they're very far from that right now. What it really is a bunch of mathematical functions that are really good at predicting the next word. So when you ask it a question, you see ChatGPT typing. It's actually, with every character that it puts there, it's doing a computation in super fast real time to understand what is the most probable next character based on the sentence and the context of the prompt and the response so far. And at first, ChatGPT 1.0, 2.0 was not very good. It would give you bad answers. It would devolve into gibberish, etc., because those predictions were not fine-tuned. They didn't have enough data to get it right. They were still working on it. Eventually it is, but that's what is happening when you see ChatGPT typing. Now they have other techniques and models where if you look very closely, as when a large language model is typing, sometimes it'll actually go back and like correct itself and rewrite, because there's new models now and techniques where it can actually detect the context so far that it's typed and correct itself and make itself even better. But it's really cool to understand that that's really what it's doing when it's typing. It's not typing just for like good UX or to make it seem like it's human. With every character, is actually calculating probabilities in real time to answer your question the best way. So how was ChatGPT made? It was a collection of a bunch of the techniques that we just talked about, but basically it started manually. They hired a bunch of contractors that were able to generate themselves questions and answers, a bunch, millions and millions and millions of these questions and answers.
And very quick, Gerry, OpenAI, it was a nonprofit that was funded by some venture capital money and philanthropic money, and the CEO, Sam Altman, was also part of Y Combinator in Silicon Valley. So he was techie already, and he had had other startups before. So OpenAI was a very innovative already by inception nonprofit, correct?
Yes, it was started by Sam Altman, Elon Musk as well. And their goal when they started it was to give humanity a tool so that we could build the future generation of technology, similar to how Amazon gave us AWS and cloud computing, which led a birth of thousands of unicorns. A lot of the companies that use anything that uses a hosted server can give thanks to the companies like Amazon that invented cloud computing.
And Gerry, is
yeah.
this why you say that AI is the new cloud? Because I remember you saying, you know, AI is really the new cloud. Eventually, everybody's going to be using it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be turning into more of an operating system. Think of it as like a framework, a language. that we use to create something. That I think the companies now that are investing heavily into understanding and building AI models and frameworks are going to be, you know, the next unicorns, the next Amazons of the future. And the Amazons themselves are already investing in it too, so they'll
And is
come
it
along for that.
is it true, Gerry, sorry for interrupting you, is it true that when ChatGPT came out, it was basically, you know, a little bit of a surprise that it was going to be released to the masses, while other companies they kind of were working on similar tools or so, but they were going to just commercialize them, and by giving the free product, it kind of pushed everyone to release. That's why you have all of these others doing that, and also pushed the technology companies also to by the public, because everybody's using it, by making it, but Uberizing it in a way, by making it accessible, it pushed the companies now because everyone knows about it. Is that?
Yeah, I think so. I think like startups are really cool because you kind of have no consequences of failure, right? And so OpenAI had a goal. They had they wanted to do it, and they did it, and they executed. I think at big companies sometimes they get a little scared of, you know, what will the public think? What happens if what happens that? To be fair, they have a lot more to lose as well. But I think that's the beauty of startups and innovative people, is to be able to accelerate and actually deliver something responsibly. So cool. Yeah, but now we see kind of the battle of the GPTs playing out. The three big tech companies have invested heavily into this. Google is Bard. They created their own. Gemini is the model that powers Bard, if you've heard that on the news. And the new Gemini Ultra model is supposed to come out in a couple of weeks here. ChatGPT, obviously, we just talked about, but they're actually backed by Microsoft. I think they have 10% or 20% of the company, something like that. And then Claude is Amazon's. So we have three large language models all duking it out. And then there's so many other verticals that they're embedding the models into. Healthcare is a big one. So Google, I know, is pioneering a lot into investing into their Gemini model for healthcare. So say you go to a doctor and the doctor is able to use a GPT to diagnose you better, to diagnose cancers. And if they get their radiography pictures, they use the AI to view the pictures and detect if there's cancers, things like that. So healthcare is a big kind of untapped market that all of these are probably going for. And defense. So ChatGPT, OpenAI just announced that they have a contract with the Pentagon. So we'll see what applications come out of that. But the big titans are all into GPTs now.
And then the different industries, innovations that are happening in the different industries are led by tech companies that are interested in the technology, not necessarily by practitioners. And so this is when there is a very good opportunity for workforce to be, you know, an area where we can have not just technology, but also you that have been working in workforce, that are interested in workforce, to be part of it. And BuildWithin is fully engaged into creating the AI technologies for workforce. We've been doing it since we started, and before GPT was announced. And so now, you know, we have a lot of learnings that we will share shortly, actually.
A little bit about like prompt engineering. So when you talk to a large language model, this is why we believe like augmented intelligence is a thing, because as much as we say AI is awesome, AI is going to replace everyone, blah, 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 AI can actually be pretty stupid. And it's only as good as the people that make it and the people that use it. So it's our creation. It's not sentient yet, probably for a long time. And so you have to kind of understand how to use the tool, similar to how when the internet came out, you had to understand how to use a browser, how to use a web page. Seems trivial to us now to kind of think about that, but for anyone that was there, if you can visualize like using a web browser for the very first time, it was probably a very clunky experience at first. So prompt engineering, when you talk to an LLM, a prompt is the question that you give it. And it's important to understand like different keywords and things that you can use. And people have been experimenting with different words and phrases and things when interacting with LLMs and getting vastly different results. So some of the top level things are like be specific, give it context, provide examples, and experiment. There's like a bunch of things on Twitter where users found out that if you like offer ChatGPT a tip, for example, it actually gives you more complete and correct answers, which seems kind of mind-boggling. Like that's a random thing that works, but again, it's trained on the language that we use and the data that we give it. So it turns out it's probably just mirroring human behavior, right? So if you were to give a human a tip, they would probably do a job for you rather than it was free. So same with LLMs. I'm sure there's a lot of Easter eggs to kind of experiment and find out there when using prompts, but it's something really fun to do. If you have a subscription to a large language model product, it's cool to just go in there and ask the same question with different tones. There's sometimes where you like are rude to it a little bit and get different responses. So it's just a fun thing to play about.
If you are in Washington, D.C., we are going to be studying a training on prompt engineering, and we are studying a prompt engineering apprenticeship. So anyone interested in actually accelerating your income as well, this is, there's no requirements, not even a high school diploma to learn it. And that's the great aspect also of emerging technologies, because today is so much easier to break into technology than ever was. And it's so much easier to also transition from career to career that uses technology in any of these new roles, because it's just there's so many tools out there that do a lot of the job for us. So we're going to move on to some examples of our own technologies and how apprentices and new hires are using it. And the question here, what are the most pressing challenges in workforce? There are many. One of them is productivity. Jim 40 with the Department of Labor asked a question on the chat that is very illuminating of this challenge, which is can we in actually apprenticeships use some of these new technologies to train apprentices or new hires? And the answer is absolutely. We are doing that already in part through the Apprenticeship Building America work that we do with the Department of Labor and also with some of our partners. But skilling is one of the biggest challenges, because we cannot wait for schools to educate to fill the jobs that we have. And we have right now, as you know, with infrastructure bill and some of those other incentives, we have money to build bridges, we have money to engineering them, but we don't have people to do it. There's another question here that will that talks about the disruptions that we need, and we believe that AI allows us to use to do a disruption that is actually quite common right now, because many people are using AI already in their day-to-day. Just some examples here that are coming up. They're all coming from this creation of Gerry and the team at BuildWithin. You may not know this, but BuildWithin is both. Is a service provider. We help employers and organizations start apprenticeship programs, do on-the-job training programs. We're also proud grantees of the Department of Labor Apprenticeship Building America grant that allow us to educate the public on apprenticeships and to start employers at no cost apprenticeship programs. And we also have technology. We are a technology company at heart. We are a technology startup. Many of us came from doing apprenticeships in technology for about a decade at our prior company, Fund to Action. And these technologies that we have today, one of them is artificial intelligence coaches. And the infrastructure is called Maestro. So everyone that is an apprentice that uses our technology uses Maestro. Is customized to their role, to personalize to their own needs. I have my own Maestro that I use every day for different things. But we done some analysis about how apprentices and new hires use Maestro, and these are some of the keywords that we see the most used or questions asked. So help me write, help me in any way, create something for me, assist me, help me find, explain this to me, translate this for me. We have individuals that is a digital marketing person that uses Maestro to translate everything because she doesn't speak any English and all her work is in English. And so that it's just great usage for technology. Great technology for productivity. You want to talk about this one, Gerry?
Yeah, so here's some examples of Maestro and our platform. Copywriting it's all under the generative AI umbrella. If you hear that term, it's creating something using AI. So think about blog posts, product descriptions, social media posts, emails, SEO, different things like that. Here we see I want to request a meeting with my manager, give me a template for the email. Yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that's Ximena there, but we actually created a AI Ximena that helps our apprentices with certain tasks. So it says Ximena there, but that's actually Maestro under the hood responding as Ximena.
Yeah, you can have like Benjamin Franklin, or you can have, anybody that is, knows about the field, or that the coach needs to have the voice of. So it could be the manager's voice. The difference between using the public, for example, generative AI models that are out there that are free, and using, productions created under softwares that are owned, in this case, BuildWithin Maestro, that is protected, that is not the data is protected inside of the firewalls of who uses the technology, and it's not shared, it's not publicly available, etc. But also that it doesn't hallucinate. I don't know if you've heard about that term, but sometimes you may ask something to generative AI models out there, and maybe GPT will go a little crazy on you. That is all of those things don't happen with Maestro, which is the tool that is proprietary that Gerry and the team created. But very quick thing about this. When we talk to in workforce, when we talk to managers, sometimes they're worried about their new hires or apprentices using Maestro, because they say, well, is this going to just do the job for them? And what they see over time is that what Maestro does for them, or the AI does for the worker, is actually just help them get started. Sometimes, if you're a new hire or you're an apprentice, when you started your new job, you just don't know everything, and you don't want to ask necessarily your manager. And so that apprentice that could be 6 months after very confident, in the beginning is not, and the AI is that sort of unscary or not scary, or not a risky friend that it can ask a question that is private and that is going to help them do that job. So a lot of people said, give me a template for this, help me write an outline. So the work is not completely done by the AI, it's just supported by the AI. Then we have another example here, which is translations. Like the great thing about Maestro in our case is that it translates in 85 languages automatically. It's super quick. You say Spanish, it does it. English, French, whatever it is that the person is using. And it's in the translation is excellent. This is another question that, I'm an English language learner, that sometimes you see translations done in some of the public spaces and the translation is not quite there. AI translations are getting almost specific to the small town in that country that speaks that language. Is that good because it's modeled after real speakers. So if you ever use AI machine, translations are going to be always better. And like, even, I've been in the US for 20 years. For me, I still have to think about it. And I waste there some time thinking about, is this grammatically correct? Even when I speak, you see me sometimes pausing, or my brain sometimes may go a little bit faster than my words, and my words won't come out in the way that I want them in that language. Well, that happens 3 times even more so when you're writing. And so a translation system that is embedded into any workforce development a system right now, if you use anything, translation is definitely something. Not only helps you with that, but also will help you with language access compliance that is very much across the US in all 50 states. Code translation is one that we didn't talk about, but actually, yeah, AI can help code and fix code. There are a lot of examples, probably Gerry can give you on that. I know we're a little bit close to time, but getting a job, this is not a sales webinar, but like our tools are also for job seekers, where there's some amazing tools that they can use to prepare for interviews or do resumes, but the power of artificial intelligence for getting closing the gaps between job seekers and jobs is tremendous, because oftentimes what they require, anyone that didn't go to a great college, or anyone that didn't have really the opportunities to be prepared for that job, especially jobs that require credentials, and they're taking a chance on someone without the credential, is the interview. If the interview goes well, if the resume is right, if the cover letter is right, if the thank you note is right, that gets that person so much closer to getting the job. It's not necessarily the skills or the potential, it's actually those very tangible products that AI can help produce. We have only a few minutes. I don't know if there are questions. We did have one more question, I think, in the chat. But any other comments, Gerry? That I didn't talk about code translation enough, but anything else that you would like to share?
No, I think it's just a super exciting time. Let's accelerate, adopt the technology responsibly, and build awesome things with it. That's what we've been doing as a country for many years, and we'll continue to do it. So super exciting times for me.
Not be scared of it. Like, we're already using it every time we take the remote control. Netflix is already interacting. We're interacting with robots in Netflix every time we use a GPS. We've been using not every time, but some tools use for GPS use AI, and really AI is just modeled after us. So the more we get involved in AI, the more diverse it's going to be, the more human it's going to be, the more compassionate it's going to be. Creating technology with a lot of people in it is always going to be better, because it's going to average for the good and not the bad. And so diversity in technology is extremely important, and that starts with usage, but really culminates with education. So if anything that we can do as a country is to empower our kids since elementary school and their parents, because a lot happens at home in terms of learning, to use emerging technologies, to give them access to them at no cost, and then for people new to the workplace, to give them access to technologies that are emerging now, like AI, to help them more productive. And for folks that want to change careers, to tell them, or people that didn't go to college, that technology can be actually learned, that you don't need today, for the most part, a college degree to have a professional job, and apprenticeships and workforce on-the-job training programs are extremely helpful to do that. Jen, I'll pass it on to you.
All right, so thank you so much, everybody.
I have a few questions.
Yeah, we
I think we have
one or two questions. So the first one is, what are the biggest takeaways for workforce leaders concerned about AI?
So, Gerry, you want to start? I can finish up.
Yeah, I'd say just invest in getting educated in any way you can. You don't have to be in technology or a developer to be involved in the space. Again, I go back to like when the internet came out, right? Like the people that invested in it to learn, even if you weren't a developer, made their lives easier, more efficient, were able to do their jobs better, spread the knowledge, cement themselves as leaders in the industry. And so there's a lot of resources out there to learn and to be involved and to keep demystifying what it is. And I'd just say just be involved and put in the work to learn.
Yeah, and I think for workforce leaders is that, well, we are a phone call away, a chat away, an email away, to come and to talk about it. We've been actually doing some of these sessions. We talked about workforce and AI at the innovation show last week. We did a couple meetings late last year in Detroit with Gerry. I think it's actually having engineers talking about AI, demystifying it. Sometimes, like in my opinion, is also important for workforce, because sometimes a lot of things are said about AI that are not true, and that doesn't help the opportunity that we have to actually use these emerging technologies for productivity. And so, just asking directly the question. So, for example, what happens with the data? Yeah, I mean, data that is used publicly is every time we use a product for free anywhere publicly, not just AI product, we're giving our data away. There are ways to protect our data. That's probably a topic for another session. But we can't be scared of it. And so educating ourselves, I think, is very important, so we can educate others, and not be afraid of correcting also folks that feel, oh my gosh, AI is going to come and displace all the jobs, because that's actually not true. There are more jobs created by AI and better paid and with more upward mobility in a shorter period of time than the amount of jobs that are actually displaced. Displacing jobs is also helping us. My mom used an AI product that allows her to be faster and do the things that she likes to do, that she probably wouldn't be able to do at her age. So I think highlighting all of those, and ultimately also highlighting the many, many opportunities to learn technologies that have AI, or use AI to learn jobs that are going to be the jobs that help solve some of the world's biggest problems, climate, everything. AI is everywhere. And so I always said the train left the station, and we have the opportunity to be at the front, or just to kind of see it walking by. And that's really the opportunity for workforce is tremendous.
Thank you so much, Ximena and Gerry. Today's webinar has been super interesting and informative as usual. And as Ximena mentioned, we are available if you have any questions. You can feel free to use our chat on our website. You can email us at info@buildwithin.com. Or if you're interested in the prompt engineering class, also, you can email techtraining@buildwithin.com. Next, in our weekly webinar series, next week we have building an in-house apprenticeship program, followed by career building on February 1st, and apprenticeships in tech, coding your way to success. You can get additional information or register for the upcoming webinars at our website, apprenticeshiphubs.com. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great afternoon.